Welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Why, hey there, and welcome to episode 127 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I appreciate you tuning in to 127, or episode 127, I should say. I am, of course, Jen, the host, marketing thought leader, digital strategist, and coach for small businesses. And pretty much, I just love business and I love marketing, and I put those two things together in the hope that I can convince you to make marketing a priority in your business, because I know if you want to grow, then you need to learn to market yourself. It sounds simple. It's probably not easy, but it definitely needs to be simpler than what it is. Which is why I named my podcast the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Today, I've got a guest. Her name is Liz Wright, and she is not only a fellow rural lady doing amazing things, she's also the creator, director, and owner of the Australian Cake Decorators Network as well. Some of you will know that I used to own a kitchen shop. It was called the Kitchenware Queens, and we had a cake decorating department. We had classes for cake decorating. We used to run school holiday programs and everything, but I have to say I cannot decorate a cake or bake to save my life. It was probably my first try at outsourcing something was outsourcing cake decorating. So I'm always envious of Liz's amazing social media feed, especially her Instagram feed that she puts out there for her and, of course, her members. And that's a very good segue into what we're chatting about on the podcast today, because we are talking memberships. Perhaps you belong to an online membership. Perhaps you've been thinking it might be a really good business model for you to create a membership for your audience. Or maybe you just want some insights on how it all works. Well, I'm glad, because I've got Liz for you today, and she's got so much gold to share with us. Liz has a few different tiers of membership, and she also has a subscription box, which was another really cool business model that she's going to chat with us about today and give some really juicy insights into. So, without holding you up any longer, let's have a chat to Liz all about memberships. Liz, I'm really excited to have you on my podcast. I know I've done a couple of things in your end of the business before, so I'm excited for you to return the favor to me.
Yes.
So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely, all my pleasure. Liz, for those who perhaps don't know you, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what your business is actually about?
Yeah, so my name's Liz Wright, and my business is called the Australian Cake Decorating Network. So basically, it's an online network for baking business owners and hobbyists and lovers of all things cake and bake. So the network is set up to help people connect to other like-minded cake decorators and bakers, learn some new skills, network with each other. They get discounts at our preferred suppliers. And we have lots of workshops on how to grow your business and regular member meetups and things like that.
Yeah, that's I loved, I guess, hearing all about your business and getting to know you. Like some of the listeners may remember, I had a retail shop, and within that we had a cake decorating section that was probably one of our most successful online parts of our business. But how did you get into cakes? What's the inspiration, or where did that all come from for you?
Yeah, well, I'm actually an occupational therapist by training. So it was a little bit I don't know, I just sort of fell into it. So my mum used to make wedding cakes. So I grew up sort of watching her make wedding cakes. So I always had an interest in it. And then it started when my friend had her 21st birthday and I made her cake. And from that, everyone said, oh, you should start a business and make cakes. And so I started making other people's wedding cakes and things like that. And then I started my business in Canberra. And I was still working full time as an occupational therapist and then running my business sort of at night and on the weekends.
So a bit of a side hustle.
Yeah, it was for a while. And then, so I had my cake decorating business, and then I had my twin boys. I've now got 4 children, but these were my first 2 children at once, which was interesting. So I had the twins. And then I was still running my cake decorating business on the side and sort of doing it at night time. And I distinctly remember one night my twins, I'd just gotten both of them to bed. They were shocking sleepers. It was about 10 o'clock at night and I wanted to crawl into bed and I had to go and turn the oven on and start baking someone's wedding cake. And I just remember thinking, this is not going to work for me or my family. And I have always been interested in online businesses. And I guess businesses are a little bit left field, which mine sort of is. And yeah, at that time, Facebook had only recently launched Facebook groups.
Wow, okay.
So there weren't really any Facebook groups for cake decorators or bakers for people to connect with each other and network. And the only really sort of connection place that there were more of like the CWA or the guilds, which are great, but they've sort of got a different focus and not so much online, and sort of run their events differently sort of to how we do. So I thought, right, I'm going to start a network for cake decorators, and didn't necessarily start it with a business as such in mind, but it did just grow from started a Facebook group, started a Facebook page, and then started running events and launched our magazine. And I guess along the way, we've added lots of different features to the business.
Yeah. Wow. That's it makes me giggle actually, because I made my best friend's 40th birthday cake, which was a complete disaster because it was about 72 degrees in the shade and it was all made of shards of chocolate, and it was the worst possible day of my life because I was so petrified that the cake was going to all melt, and no one asked me to do a cake decorating from then on. So I suspect I'm not as good as you. Oh dear. But Liz, I guess one of the things that I know about your business and your business model that I wanted you to come on and share with my audience was around membership. So you have a membership through the Cake Decorators network that, so can you just, I guess, explain to my audience a little bit about, what a membership is and how it actually works a little bit inside your business?
Yeah, sure. So I actually have 3 different forms of memberships. 3 different types of membership. So we have our social membership, which is what I launched Australian Cake Decorating Network with. And that was back in 2012. So
Wow.
yeah, 9 years ago. So that's our social membership, which people join and we share their work on social media and they get access into our Facebook group so they can ask questions and share their work and just sort of meet up with other like-minded people. And they get different discounts and things through being a member. So that's sort of our social membership. And then we have our business membership. So people who are running a baking business can join the business membership. And this is what, as you know, Jen, you've done a few workshops for us in our business lounge. So people who are running baking businesses and want to learn those skills, like, for example, yours, Facebook and Instagram marketing. We've done lots on pricing and confidence with pricing, how to photograph your cakes, all those practical, I guess, business skills that they need. So that's a separate membership. And then I have a subscription box, which is technically a membership, but in a different form. So people who are members of the subscription box obviously get a box full of cake decorating goodies every month. So yeah, I have 3 different memberships that sort of run concurrently within that, depending on, what they're interested in, cake decorating or baking. A lot of our members who are in our social membership are only hobbyists. So they're not making cakes to sell. Yep. So they're hobbyists, just enjoy making cakes, which is awesome. And then some of others are running businesses on the side. So they might be working elsewhere and then running a business on the side. And then others are running their business as their full-time business. So we have, a variety of different members. And I put on the other half of that question. What was the other half of that question? Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's all good. So I guess membership at the core of the membership. So people are paying a monthly subscription to you, or an annual subscription.
So the social membership is a low-cost membership. That's $79 a year. That's an annual membership, and then the other 2 are monthly. So they are sort of set up differently. And I guess it's all based around the value that they're getting out of that, and how much resources they get each month, I suppose. Like in the business membership, for example, it's a higher price point, but they're getting people like yourself who are coming on to, do workshops that are targeted to cake decorators and really relevant. So I have an annual membership and then the 2 monthly memberships.
Yeah. So memberships is, I guess, a whole other business model to anything I've sort of discussed on the podcast before. And I guess the thing that I've always been a little bit wary of memberships, starting my own, not joining them, I am a member of several of them, is the amount of work that I perceive that it would take to service those members on a monthly basis. So do you, I guess my question is probably I should rewind just a little bit and ask, so how do you start a membership or how have you started yours and how do you get new members inside your business? We'll start there before I start getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah. One thing that I know worked in my favor, like I said, I started ACDN in 2012, which, as you know, when Facebook was really great organically, like I started my Facebook page and I would wake up and have 10,000 new followers in a day. Like it was insane.
Oh, we used to love those days. I used to
I
put a
know, the
post
good
up
old
saying
days.
we're having a sale and it would be like everyone had come down. Everyone would
every
know
man and his dog.
Yeah.
Yes, the good old days of Facebook. So I was lucky in one regard that I started, early in those days, and also that there wasn't anything else like ACDN when I first started.
Yeah.
So that certainly helped. So I do a lot of, obviously have a very strong Instagram page and we post there very frequently as well. Our membership really was word of mouth for a long time. I didn't advertise at all. But I've always done email marketing, which I know is something that you're very strong on as well.
About. Yep.
Yes. And just recently I've started running some Facebook ads and sort of dabbling into that and seeing how that whole world works, which, is another world in its own, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. And why do you think a membership works well for the business that you have? Like, why didn't you go into coaching for yourself or, teaching cake decorating for yourself and that sort of thing? But really, you've gone very much down the community where you're not just the only hero in your group, but everyone is helping everyone else. Why do you think that worked or you went down that line as opposed to you becoming a teacher of cake decorating?
The main reason was that there was nothing like that available.
Yeah.
And I remember when I had my cake decorating business, there was a forum online and that shut down. And then all of a sudden everyone was like, where do we go and ask cake decorating questions? Where do we go and share our work or say, how do we do this technique or have you tried this tool or anything like that? So there was a period where there was nothing for people to, like no network for people to get involved in. And like I said, Facebook groups weren't really around then. Like there's lots of cake decorating Facebook groups now, but at that time there weren't. So when I started ACDN, I don't know, it's just always been a really supportive sort of place too.
Yeah.
And I guess that comes from, myself and the other people who have helped form that is that, this is the way that I guess what we bring into the group and the way we act in the group and sort of those boundaries that we set around posts. Like there's none of that bitchiness that you see in a lot of other Facebook groups. And if there is, we cut it off. And I think people, when they join the group, they realize sort of the feel of the group and the camaraderie that's in there. And I think that's why it works so well, because it is sort of monitored and, formed to be in that supportive place. It is, a supportive community. But that's the main reason that I went down that path, because I guess at the time, and probably still now, there are a lot of cake decorators who are teaching courses, now more so some online. But there weren't any sort of networks. And I knew as a cake decorator myself that I needed that place to go and ask questions or, hey, have you tried this tool or things like that.
Yeah, and I guess the lesson for anyone listening, whether you're thinking of a membership inside your business or not, is see a problem, solve a problem. You saw the problem and you came up with the solution for the problem. Whether or not you ever set out to monetize it like you have, or whether, like you say, you didn't have that support network, so you're kind of looking for it for yourself as well. But I think that's a big business lesson for anyone. But if anyone is considering a membership side of their business, what would be the thing that you would like them to know? What would you like someone to know if they're kind of like, well, I've been tinkering about memberships, is it a good thing for my business or not?
You're going to
Shame.
make me. You're going to make me narrow that down to one, aren't you? My one piece of advice would be make sure you set it up properly from the start. When I set mine up, like I said, I didn't really have a plan to monetize it and turn it into sort of the business that it is. So I didn't set it up properly from the start. I mean, I think I started my membership with a PayPal subscription button, which was the worst idea ever, because I had a website and then I had a PayPal subscription button and they weren't talking to each other, which was fine when I had 50 members.
Yes.
Because I could check everyone's payments. But now I have 1,400 members and I just think, thank goodness I did change it over sort of earlier on, but I've now got those members who joined early, who are awesome, they're still with us, but those legacy members who are still having issues with the website and the PayPal talking to each other.
Yeah.
So it has caused a lot of issues over the years. I wish I had set it up from the start, invested in my website, got a web developer who knew what they were doing. I think I've been through like 6 different websites, which is always a problem. But yeah, getting someone who can set up a membership site properly from the start, using a program like now I use MemberPress for my website, which is great. So people become a member and then MemberPress talks to WordPress, and if a payment goes through, they get access to the member pages. If a payment doesn't go through, then they don't get access and we get notified, which obviously is the way that you should set it up, not using a PayPal button, which is what I did. So that would be my main piece of advice. If you are planning on doing a membership and planning on monetizing it into a business, make sure you invest in it and set it up properly, because I'm sure that I have spent way tenfold more money fixing the problem than if I had have just done it properly in the first place.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's
Not
a
to
really,
mention the time and the frustration.
yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Like, the frustration probably even more so than anything else of, it seems so simple
It's
and yet
work.
it's
Yes.
driving me insane.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So a membership's a lot of work.
They are. They can be, I should say. I think my membership probably really took off when I made that decision to get a VA, a virtual assistant, and delegate a lot of that time-consuming tasks to my VA, who, by the way, if she's watching, you're an angel. She's absolutely amazing, and I couldn't run this business without her. So yeah, I have a couple of VAs. They're both great, but I delegate a lot of those member inquiries. They go straight to her email. So I've lost my password, or I can't get to this page, or when does the next course start, or when is our next event, all those sort of inquiries. So she manages a lot of the admin side of it.
Yep.
So in that regard, I don't necessarily spend that much time on the website or on the business as such, but it's probably more the headspace. Like, I feel like I'm constantly thinking of ideas, and it's that creative space that it sort of takes up in your brain, trying to come up with the new ideas or the new courses or the new membership workshops that you're doing, or I know that sounds a bit weird, not necessarily sitting down at my computer typing, but I'm still, the cogs are still turning, and it's very consuming in that regard.
Yeah. So how often would you say that your membership offerings change or get added to or slightly adjusted because of, the creativeness of the business?
Yeah, pretty often.
Yeah.
So we're always changing. The main membership, I guess, stays fairly similar. We have a discount program, which is called the Preferred Supplier Program. So we have cake decorating supply shops in Australia who will offer our members a discount. So we'll have people coming and going off that. So that sort of changes a bit. We have regular things like meetups, obviously not so much in COVID time, but yes, we like to have meetups, which we're planning hopefully for this year. And a lot of, we have different things, I guess, coming in and out of the business. Like, we had a YouTube channel, which was really strong for a little while. And now we're focusing on online courses and the subscription box. But I think a lot of that, like I was saying, the headspace and trying to come up with creative ideas. Like, for an example, is the Business Lounge, which only launched in July last year, so 2020, in the middle of COVID. Which could have gone either way. It was either really good for people who were running businesses and needed that support right there, or it could have gone really bad and people didn't join because of COVID, but it actually went really well, which was great. But that's something that took up a lot of, not necessarily, like I said, not time me sitting there typing on a computer, but a lot of time just thinking about it and working out how that was going to work and what's going to be the best, I guess, for the members in that. Yeah.
So again, is it listening to the members that you have and seeing what their roadblocks are, their problems are, and working out solutions for them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time connecting and engaging with members within the Facebook groups as well. It's very hard. Obviously, I can't be in there all day long, but I do like to hop in every day and just see, what posts are up there. Obviously, if there's any inappropriate posts or things, we have admin that sort of deal with that too, as well, along with me. But yeah, just hopping in there and seeing what people are talking about, seeing what issues they've got, what new products people are using, which then leads into my subscription box and what I might feature in that. But just, and like you said, what issues they've got within their businesses might then lead to the next workshop in the Business Lounge.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is time consuming and probably, like I said, more headspace consuming, like always thinking about creative. Well, I'm thinking about creative ways to adapt it and make it better, not necessarily sitting at my desk doing work.
Yeah. I think that's a really good distinction. Thank you. I know before you mentioned, you wish you had have set your business up with PayPal and that a little bit better. But what's the one thing you wish someone had have told you about memberships before you started?
That's a good question. I think probably to do it sooner. I think it's a really great business model for many reasons. One, obviously, you have a recurring revenue. And you know that if you've got 100 members and they're paying you X amount a month, then you've got that much in revenue coming in every month. It's recurring. So I think it's a great business model. And I look at other businesses and I think, and I always get in trouble because I go down the street, I say, you should start a subscription box, or you should do a subscription box. Everyone should do a subscription box. Or you should do a membership, or, so many businesses have so much to offer and they have great followings and they've got sort of a tribe behind them who are interested in what they're teaching and saying, and possibly some of them, instead of doing a one-off course here and then another one in 6 months' time, maybe they could spread that out into a monthly format and have that recurring monthly revenue. It's a fantastic business model in my opinion. Obviously it doesn't work for everyone, but a lot of people could incorporate it. And it doesn't have to be a huge membership, but like I said, it's just that recurring monthly revenue that you've got coming in every month. And then you can plan, because that money's coming in, you can then plan to put this event on or, expand from there. But not only from a revenue point of view, it's also really rewarding, I guess, seeing other people's businesses grow. That's what I've really liked out of the new Business Lounge membership. Like I get comments from people to say, I've had my best month in the last 5 years, or, that workshop, I've changed all of my pricing structure and I'm so much more confident in pricing. Like we get the most amazing feedback. Yes. I just think, how good is that? It's not only, like, I'm not doing it just for the revenue side of it, but if I can get someone like you or get someone like Zoe, who talked about pricing, to come on and teach all of our business members how to increase their profit, the flow-on effect of that is huge. Like they're making more money for themselves, they're supporting their family, they can go on a holiday, they can, like the flow-on effect of me running this is really cool when you think about that.
Yeah.
Like I've had the best messages, like saying, ACDN's changed my life and I've made the most amazing friendships out of it. I think, that's really cool.
Yeah, that is super cool. And, full disclosure for anyone listening, I am part of that group, because I have done a few workshops, and I really love it when you put a challenge out to them and they embrace that challenge. And and that peer model comes in. It's just like, I did it. I did what Jen said, or I did the 72-hour rule, and other people are like, whoa, I better go and do it. Like it's that real peer model that comes out of, encouraging, but also challenging and pushing them to a certain degree. So that's what I've loved, seeing the community and seeing the growth as well.
And the other part about this, so that's, as you were saying, in the business part of the Business Lounge, but in the social membership, like we've created some amazing things, not to do with revenue at all, like community things. Like, for example, the bushfires I live in Young, which is in Hilltops region, which is beautiful. Come and get your cherries from us in December. Cherry capital of Australia. So when the bushfires obviously were on at the start of, when was that, 2020?
Yeah.
January, I think. I decided to do a bake sale down the main street. We raised about $2,000 just in the main street. I thought, how cool is this? We should do this Australia-wide. This is another one of my stupid, great big ideas. I was like, right, we should get all our members involved and we should do them all over Australia, which turned into Bigger Than Bet-Her. But we were really lucky. We actually got Bunnings supported us in that and let us use their stores across Australia, which was really cool. And we ended up holding over 25 bake sales and raising over 46 grand for bushfire relief. So just things like that, we had so many members in all these locations all over Australia. So we had these coordinators, and then say 20 of our members would then hop on and help bake and turn up on the day and sell them. And I just thought that's really cool.
That is so cool on so many different levels, you know, because they probably made friends that day that they didn't know. And, you know, it only been a name in the group as well as raising money. And that's amazing. That's a gorgeous story. I haven't heard that story before.
Yeah, so that's the other part of what I love about memberships, and particularly my membership. I guess it's a community type membership. So it's really rewarding seeing all those stories of friendships, I guess, coming out of that. And I find that really rewarding.
Yeah, I can see why. I think that sounds very rewarding. Absolutely. What's some drawbacks of having a membership? Is there anything that, you know, for someone who's listening that you might, you know, sort of share, perhaps, I don't want to say negative, but maybe just a bit of a drawback on having memberships? Yeah,
there probably are a few. I don't think any of them are probably deal breakers, but there's a few things that you probably should know before you go into it. One, which I found difficult in the start, when I've spoken to a few people about this who are thinking of running memberships and have the same sort of hurdle, is that once you've started it, you can't really stop it.
That's my fear. There's my fear in a nutshell.
I mean, you can, but the idea is that it's on month after month after month, and that's really daunting. Like, you think, oh my gosh, what content? Am I going to have to come up with content every single month? And how much time is it going to take every month? And you can't, well, you shouldn't really just start it and then in 2 months' time go, I'm not doing that anymore. You know, that's probably a drawback in that sort of you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be on this little, like a little wheel spinning, a little hamster wheel over and over and over. Yeah. But there's ways around that. Like, for example, with my business lounge, I do like block filming. So I'll film like 4 months of workshops, get them edited, and I'll do all that in a week. And then I know I'm good to go for the next 4 months.
Yeah.
So there's ways around that. But it is an ongoing commitment. So I'm constantly going into the Facebook group, always, you know, just keeping on top of everything. It is ongoing. It's not like doing a course and then going, okay, great, I don't have to think about that for another 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's probably a downside of it. Another part that I find difficult sometimes is that you're always contactable, and which is fine. I love talking to my members, of course, it's great. But I feel like I'm always having to get in the Facebook group, and, you know, people are messaging me at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm just thinking, oh man, it's great. I love my members and I love chatting to them, and that's cool. But it can get a lot when you've got a lot of members all contacting you. And I guess sometimes, like, when members have issues with each other, they pull you in to be the referee, which is also part of the role. And I'm not a good referee because I don't like to play favourites and I don't like to upset people. And I just, I find that hard to, when I've got members who are having issues with each other, which does happen because you have different personalities. Sometimes people clash. And the other problem with, I guess, having it through a Facebook group or online is that the way people text things in a comment can be read completely different to how they meant it. Yeah. And that's generally what causes issues, is people read it depending on their frame of mind at the time.
Yes.
So I guess I find that a little bit difficult sometimes to have to referee. Yeah.
A different part of the leadership you perhaps weren't expecting when you opened the membership.
Exactly. Yeah.
No. Great. I think memberships are a very interesting business model. I would love to hear from anyone who's listening to the podcast that perhaps has one or is considering having one. From the outside looking in, I see people launching them and it looks like a lot of work. So how often do you launch to take in new
So
members?
yeah, all of my memberships are actually different. So my social membership, which is the annual membership, has been open all the time. I don't close that. So there's obviously the open model and then the closed model. So open model is where you're open all the time, people can just join whenever. And the closed model is when you're only open for certain periods throughout the year. So it might be like 3 days here and 3 days there and then 3 days there. And you have to join within those 3 days or you can't, you've got to wait till the next one. Both of them have got pros and cons. My social membership is open, so it's open all the time, people can just join. The downside of that is that there's no urgency. Whereas if it's a closed model, you can say, if you don't join by Sunday, then you're not in, you know. So they've both got pros and cons. I have my business lounge, which is the monthly workshops. I have that set as a closed model because people, if we had members coming in sort of dribs and drabs, it would be hard for the group as a whole because we do the workshops together. You know, if you've got people sort of coming in, it could be a little bit disruptive. So for that, I run, which you know, Jen, a 5-day baking business challenge on Facebook, which is, so 5 days of workshops. People join and they get a bit of a taste of the business lounge and what they're going to learn. And then at the end of it, we open up our business lounge membership for people to join. So I do 2 of those. I'm going to do 2 of those a year.
Yep.
Ongoing. Yeah. So they'll be sort of open to 2 times a year, and then I'll probably add in the third, something maybe different. Haven't worked out what yet. I'll work that out later. But so I'll probably open that 3 times a year ongoing.
Yeah.
So that everyone's joining at the one time. We have a big Zoom welcome party and everyone sort of understands how it works, you know, when the workshops are on, when the live sessions are on, where to find the workbooks, all that sort of thing. We can explain it all sort of once to all the new members at the same time. And then the subscription box opens and shuts depending on how many spots I've got available. So if I have more spots available, then you can join and I'll let everyone know. But if we're full, then yeah, we're full.
You're full. Someone's got to die to get back on the list type of thing.
Hopefully not. So periodically I will add more spots to the subscription box.
Yeah.
And then new people can join.
Yeah. Beautiful. This has been such a great discussion, very eye-opening, and thank you for being so candid in your responses. It's something I get asked a little bit about memberships and, you know, how they might work. And I'm often referring to yourself or, you know, of course, Amy has just launched one for Seed VA, which, you know, I've been watching closely as well.
Who, by the way, is my angel of a VA. She's so good.
You might lose her if she keeps getting good, though.
Don't tell anyone. She's got a fantastic membership. Yeah. She's set up a really great membership for VAs. She's done a really great job.
It's amazing. I've loved watching the process. You know, I often watch these things with a business hat on and a marketing hat on and then a curiosity hat on. But yeah, so it's been a really great chat about memberships. Thank you so much for opening up about your membership and having this chat to us. If anyone wants to get in contact about cakes or perhaps even have a query for you about memberships, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm totally happy to talk to people about memberships. It's not necessarily part of what I do day to day, but I'm more than happy to help other people out and answer any questions or help where I can. And if you're a cake decorator or a baker or just love eating cake or want to learn some cake decorating skills, you can come and join us under any of those memberships. So we have the social membership, the business lounge, which is for business owners, or if you want to start a baking business, or the subscription box, which is where every month you get a box full of goodies delivered to your door of new products to try and new tools to use. You can find all of that on our website, which is www.acdn.me. So ACDN for Australian Cake Decorating Network, acdn.me. And you'll find our details there. And if you have any specific questions about memberships and you want to contact me directly, it's liz@acdn.me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I will, of course, have those links in the show notes for anyone who is interested in having those links as well. But Liz, this has been so good. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. And I love your Instagram and love all the cakes. Full confession, had a cake decorating shop, can't cake decorate to save myself, but love people who can. And it's just such an amazing talent. And
You could appreciate them.
Well,
we need people to appreciate them for us to keep decorating them. So that's good.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks again. And we will catch up soon.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Liz. Look, I was fascinated the whole way through. I just think it's such an interesting business model and one that we hadn't discussed on the podcast so far. Of course, you can get all the links for Liz's social and her website at on my website, which is at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/127. Liz definitely gave us some things to think about. Business can look so many different ways, and it's just a matter of finding the way that works best for you, but also works best for your audience and your clients. So that's why I like the diversification of looking at different business models. I hope to do more of it as we move through into more episodes here. But that's it for 127. I will be back next Thursday for 128, and I really look forward to chatting with you then. So whatever you do, whatever the week brings, enjoy it. And let's connect on social. Come and join my Like-Minded Business Owners Facebook group, or let's connect on Instagram. I am at Jen Donovan _ Love to touch base with you there. If you're enjoying this podcast, then hey, hit the subscribe button. And if you have an extra 3 minutes in your day, I would really love for you to leave a rating and a review in wherever it is that you listen to this podcast. But until next week, remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.